Hot speculation books or expensive toilet paper? I'll let you be the judge. So go grab your vibe juice and meet me back here in the comic room. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to, another episode of Keep It Comics. As always, I am your gracious host, C3. Before we get started, I want to do what I always do, which is thank each and every one of you for stopping by, checking out the channel. We've got a beautiful show planned for you today. Got a lot of comic books that are on my radar, and I want to share those with you. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, so every time I do a video, you guys will get that notification. And we all know the routine. Check the nonsense at the door, because it's good vibes only, ladies and gentlemen. We are here strictly for the love of the comics. Nothing more, nothing less. All right? And for those of you, if this is your first time stopping by checking out the channel, consider hanging out to the end, because I'll show you guys what I picked up last week for New Comic Book Day. Something that I wanted to add to my collection. You just might want to add them to yours. You never know. All right? So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. Coming in at number 10, we've got a book that is a modern comic. This book was published by Marvel and it was released on March of 2014. The title of this book is Moon Knight, issue number 1. All right, Moon Knight, issue number 1. Key factor to this book is it's the first appearance of Mr. Knight. And we know with Disney Plus streaming all these new superhero series that this is going to be one to keep your eye on. I personally want to add this to my collection, wanted to share it with you. So let's check the numbers on this. The LRS for this was on January 9th of 2023, and LRS being last recorded sale. All right, so last recorded sale for this book was on January 9th of 2023, where a raw copy of this book sold for $4, ladies and gentlemen. This book has a 43.57% increase in copies that have been sold so far. The average price for a raw copy is $31. The average price for a graded copy is $82. There's been 558 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 57 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 615 copies of this particular book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, highest known sale was back in February of 2022, where a CGC 9.8 sold for $430. While fair market value has this book resting at $31 for a raw copy that's in near mint condition. So if you're in the market for Moon Knight, issue number 1, which this is a nice book that you can add to your collection. That Moon Knight series was something special. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed how the characters were portrayed. I liked how they introduced that series to us. So I'm keeping my eye out on this book, and I possibly will add this to my collection very, very soon. All right? So if you're in the market for Moon Knight, issue number 1, first appearance of Mr. Knight, this book is on the move. All right? Because you know they're going to be bringing new characters on just as soon as they bring this series back. So you never know who's going to pop up on the screen. Coming in at number 9, we have a book that's published by Marvel. This is a Copper Age book, ladies and gentlemen. And it was released back in July of 1986. I know, right? Good times, man. Good times, the 80s. The title of this book is Avengers Issue number 269. Okay? Now, this is the origin story of Kang, of Kang as Rama Tut. All right, so this book, with all this talk about Kang the Conqueror coming, we never know what we're going to hear. We don't know what we're going to see. So this is a book that I've been speculating on that I might feel that's going to do pretty well on the secondary market. It's starting off pretty slow right now, but I anticipate this book picking up and gaining some ground the closer we get to having Kang pop up on the big screen. All right, so let's talk spec numbers on this one. The LRS for this one was back in January 10th of 2023, where a raw copy of this book sold for $5. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, $5. So it's a perfect time to buy in for a lot of these books. If these books are something that you want to add to your collection, it's a perfect opportunity to buy in right now. Price points are pretty low, fairly decent in scope and value. So this is a perfect opportunity. This book has a 39.72% increase in copies that have sold. So this book, again, like I say, it continues to gain momentum. So I've been keeping my eye out on this book. I've already ordered a couple of copies for myself, so I will have this book in my collection very soon. And it is, average sale for this book is $10 right now for a raw copy. And the average price for a graded copy is $221, all right, for that mid to high grade. So you're looking for $221 for a mid to high grade copy in the CGC. There has been 413 raw copies of this book that have sold, and there's been 23 graded copies that have sold, giving us a maximum total of 436 copies of this book that's moved on the secondary market. Now, keep in mind, back in December of 2022, there was a high sale of a CGC 9.8 that went for $264. And there's a strong possibility that this book could get back up there. You know what I mean? Because you never know. Excuse me, vibe juice. There's a strong happening going on right now in Marvel Universe that all these characters are coming to the forefront. So Kang the Conqueror has been one that has been anticipated for a long time. So the community is happy and we're waiting to receive him. So his books are going to spike. So this is one that you're definitely going to want to keep your eye on. Fair market value does have this book resting at $10 for a raw copy that's in very fine condition. So if you're in the market for Avengers Issue 269, The Origin of Kang as Rama Tut, keep your eye out on this book because it's definitely on the move. And speaking of move, we just going to keep it moving right along to number 8. We've got a book that is published by Marvel. It was released back in January of 2022. It is a modern comic, ladies and gentlemen. The title of this book is Star Wars High Republic. This is issue number 2, the second print. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. And for this particular book, shout out to Jim's Comics because that's where I heard it first. He mentioned it and put me onto it. And just like, you know, it's important. I feel like it's important that when you hear something coming from an individual such as Jim, that you pay attention to it. So I had ordered myself a few copies, but I also picked up a couple on New Comic Book Day. All right. And it's the first appearance. So the reason he was talking about this book because he explained in full, in totality, that it is the first cover appearance of the Twinkle Sisters. And you'll see them sitting up there. And I was like, sisters? Okay. All right. Right. So I went and copped a couple. You might want to add this book to your collection. Beautiful artwork, beautiful cover. Love the story. Star Wars High Republic is an excellent story. Something that I can highly recommend. Star Wars is completely revamping its entire situation, man, to where it's flushing out the entire galaxy. So there's so much going on, so much new stuff. There's going to be so many new characters, so many new series that are going to be popping up. And if you haven't heard it before, I'm telling you right now, Andor is an excellent watch on Disney Plus. So if you haven't seen it, go check out Andor, man. I binge watch it, and I'm waiting on the next series to pop up now. But anyway, enough with the rambling. Let's talk about the specs on this book. All right, so the last recorded sale for this book was back on January 11th of 2023, where a raw copy of this book sold for $10. This book has a trend of 29.64% increase in copies sold. Now, the average sale for a raw copy is $9. At the moment, because this is a new book, there are no CGC numbers popping up on this book just yet. But when they do, I will definitely double back and let you guys know what's going on. There's been 23 raw copies that have sold. So keep this in mind. Back in January 4th, of 2023, there was a high sale of $11 for this particular book, while fair market value does have this book resting at $9 for a raw copy in near mint condition. So if you are in the market for Star Wars High Republic issue number 2, the second print, and this is, like I said, the first cover appearance of the Twinkle Sisters, keep your if on this book because it is definitely on the move and one that I consider one of our special books of the week because this book is definitely going to grow. I think if you watch all these Star Wars books as they add these new characters, these are books that you're definitely going to want to add to your collection and hide them because they're going to be there in the future and they're going to be worth something. So for those of you who like storing up comics, this is one to add to your collection. All right, now moving right along, we're going to keep the flow going, steady flow. Number 7 on our list, another book that is published by Marvel. It was released back in December of 2019. Now, the title of this book is Venom, Venom. Venom 2099, issue number 1. Yes, I'm a big Venom fan too. All right, so the key factor to this book is it is the first appearance of the second Venom 2099, Aaliyah Bell, right? Yep, so we got the female Venom who I know eventually is going to pop up on the big screen too. So I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for this. I know that a lot of people are not paying attention to it. That's why I've clued in on it. I've keyed in on it because what I like to do is pay attention and watch books that everybody's not talking about so I can get them at a reasonable rate and add it to my collection rather than waiting for it to get hot. All right. And let's talk about it. It's hot, but it's not so hot that you can't get your hands on it. Right. So let's talk numbers. The last recorded sale for this book was also back on January 11th of 2023, where a raw copy of this book sold for $5. Now, this book has a 26.96% increase in copies that have sold. The average sale for a raw copy at the moment is $13, and the average sale for a CGC 9.8 in this book is $65. There's been 387 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 11 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 425 copies of this particular book that has changed hands. And excuse me, I meant to say 41 graded copies. So it's 387 raw copies and 41 graded copies, giving us a grand total of 425 copies of this particular book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Excuse me for a minute. Let me check. I check my fingers. I might have to count my toes just to make sure I'm right. Make sure my calculations is right. All right. So back in February of 2022, there was a high sale for CGC 9.8 that sold for $109. All right, so fair market value has this book resting at $13 for a raw copy in their mint condition. So if you are in the market for Venom 2099, issue number 1, Venom, 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 keep your eye out on this book because it is definitely on the move. All right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some Bronze Age goodness coming up, coming in at number 6. This book is published by Marvel. It was released back in 1975. The title of this book is Giant-Sized Defenders, issue number 3. This is one I'm definitely looking forward to adding to my collection. This is the first appearance of Korvac, right? They're playing chess in this book on a global scale. If you had not read this series, definitely double back, check it out. It's got to be in the back issue somewhere. And if not, I definitely think that it's up on somebody. I know it's up on somebody's wall because that's where I saw it at, and I'm gonna be doubling back to grab it for myself. But yeah, they're playing chess on a global scale in this particular book. So the numbers look like this. Last recorded sale was on January 6th. 2023, where a raw copy of this book sold for $47. This book is currently at 31.16% increase in copies sold at the moment. All right. The average sale for a raw copy of this book is $50. The average sale for a graded CGC 9.0 is $156. There has been 889 raw copies that have sold, ladies and gentlemen, and there's been 166 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 1,055 copies of this particular book that has changed hands on the secondary market thus far. Those numbers tell me that there are others paying attention to this book, that there's something going on in the MCU, that this book continues to gain ground. This book has momentum, it has legs, it is off and running, and it will continue to go up in value. So if you want to get your hands on this book before it spikes to astronomical numbers, now is the perfect time. Back in March of 2021, there was a high sale for a raw copy that sold for $1,800. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a raw copy sold for over $1,800. So there's a strong possibility that now it's now or never. That's what I'm seeing for this particular book. That's why I'm going to grab this book as soon as Martin Luther King's Day is over. So Tuesday, I'm going to look and double down on this book so I can get it in my collection. Well, keep this in mind. Fair market value has this book resting at $50 for a raw copy that is in fine condition. All right? So if you're in the market for Giant-Sized Defenders, issue number 3, keep your eye out on this book because it's definitely doing numbers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the halfway mark, and we've done it in under 15 minutes, so I'm pretty proud of myself at the moment. So what I want to do is take this opportunity to stop, catch my breath, and do what I always do. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by, checking out the channel. If this is your first time viewing the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. I drop content on a weekly basis. I don't necessarily have a day locked in just yet, but I drop the content whenever I can. I get a lot of encouraging comments. Like I just got one saying, yo, we need more videos from you. We can't keep waiting for the content. I can't wait for your content. I totally get it, but I have a lot of other things going on in life. I'm currently in school. I have a family. I've got a full-time job, and plus, you know, with everything going on with COVID and there's a staffing crisis. So there's just so much going on in the world, right? But I continue to find space to drop these videos, and I will continue to do so. And I enjoy what I do. And you know the routine. It's good vibes only when we're over here, because we're only here for the love of comics. I do it strictly for the love of comics. And every time I get an opportunity to drop a video like this for you guys, for the community, I feel great about doing it. I feel happy. I feel accomplished. I feel like I've done something. And I have a lot of fun doing it. So I'll continue to do my best. Please don't give up on me. But when I'm done with school, I'm done with school in May. When I'm done at school, I'm going to flood you guys so much. You guys are going to get tired of me. So be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. It's good vibes only, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. We drop content every week. And like I said, if you stick around to the end, I'll show you guys what I picked up from my pull list last week for New Comic Book Day. Bunch of books. So, and I haven't had time. That's how busy I am. I haven't had time to bag and board them. All right. So you guys know what it is. Back to business. Coming in at number 5, we have a modern book. This book is published by Marvel. It was released on June of 2008. The title of this book is The Avengers, The New Avengers, issue number 40. New Avengers, issue number 40, ladies and gentlemen. Now, here's the reason I'm going after this book. It's the first full of the it's the first full appearance of this shape-shifting scroll, Varank, right? Some people say Varanky. I'm going to call him Varank. It's the first full appearance of that shape-shifting scroll, Varank, as himself, right? We've seen Varank as a lot of different faces, but this one shows as himself. So I want to make sure that I add this to my collection. Here's the numbers on this book. Last recorded sale for this book was on January 12th of 2023, where a raw copy sold for $10. And for me, that's perfect. But at the moment, this book has a 35.19% increase in copies that are being sold. So this book is steady on the move. And I like that. It's gradual, but it's moving, right? And for me, that tells me that there are others keeping an eye on this book. They're anticipating something. So I'm keying in on that. So I'm paying attention to people. And I want to add this book to my collection. The average sale for a raw copy of this book is $22 at the moment. And the average sale for a CGC 9.8 is $443. There's been 672 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 25 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 697 copies of this book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, the highest known sale was back in April of 2022, where CGC 9.8 sold for $440, ladies and gentlemen. $440 for this particular book. Fair market value has this book resting at $22 for a raw copy in near mint condition. So I will be looking for that raw copy in near mint condition. And I'll try to send it in myself and get a CGC to see what it comes back as. All right. But if you are in the market for New Avengers issue number 40, keep your eye out on this book, because it's definitely doing numbers on the secondary market. It's on the move, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Moving right along. Here's number 4 on the list. This book was published by Caliber Press. It was released back in February of 1989. It's a copper book. It's a copper book, copper age. All right? And the title of this book is The Crow, issue number 1. Yes, I've been watching this book for, I've got to say, for the better portion of 3 years. 3 years I've been watching this book. Still haven't added it to my collection. But I continue to watch it because the price has come down a little bit. It's still up there, but it has come down a little bit. I am a big fan of The Crow issue number 1. I actually took a couple of buddies of mine out to the movies where we saw it in the movies as a unit, and we enjoyed it. Brandon Lee at his best. You know what I mean? So it was such a dope movie, so dark, so gothic. It was just so intriguing. And I was like, yo, my mind was blown when I left the theater. And I want to add this book to my collection. There's a first print, but there's also a second print out there. But I'm talking about that first print. I want to grab that first print. Now, here is the specs on this book. This book, the last recorded sale was back in January 12th of 2023, where a raw copy of this book sold for $900. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, $900. That's a lot of cheese. But for those of you who really want to add this book to your collection, it's worth saving up for. This book, in my opinion, is definitely worth going after. Iconic role, played by Brandon Lee, played the Crow to the T. Dope. Got, you know, in my opinion, Crow is just as good a superhero as any. I love him. All right. This book currently has a 2.67% increase in copies that have sold. The average sale for this book in a raw copy is $533. And I'm happy about that because that's in my range. You know what I mean? So the average sale for a graded 9.4 was $1,727. Now, there has been 110 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 148 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 258 copies of this book that has changed hands. There are others that like this book too. I like it. I love it. It is just something that I would think would benefit my collection. My collection would definitely have value if I add this book to my collection. That's just how I feel about it. The highest known sale for this book was back in January of 2022, where CGC 9.8 sold for $18,000, ladies and gentlemen. $18,000. Now, I know not all of us have 18 grand to spend on a CGC 9.8, but you don't always have to buy the 9.8. And I, for myself, if I can't afford a 9.8, I will buy the book that I can afford, even if it's a 1.8. But if it's a book that I want to add to my collection, believe you me, I am going to add it to my collection. I don't always have to have the 9.8. Although they are pretty, they're beautiful to look at, and it's good to know that, yo, it's almost flawless. You know, it's just not there for some of us. I'm one, you know, I buy what I like. So, and I encourage you to do the same. All right? Get the books that you like. They don't all have to be 9.8s. Everything that I own doesn't have to be a 9.8. That's just the type of person I am. But I like collecting books, and I like enhancing my my collection with particular books, and this is one of them. So, fair market value has this book resting at $533 for a raw copy that is in near mint condition. All right. So if you are in the market for The Crow, issue number 1, keep your eye out on this book because it is definitely on the move, ladies and gentlemen. Slowly but surely, keep your eye out on that book. That's one you can definitely keep your eye on because I think it's going to do well. It'll continue to do well. It's a classic book, iconic. All right. Excuse me. You know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming in at number 3, we got some more Copper Age goodness. This book was published by Marvel, and it was released back in May of 1984. The title of this book is Marvel Team Up, issue number 141, the newsstand edition. That's a beauty. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Say no more. You don't have to say any more, right? This team-up thing, I think, is going to come because as they continue to flush out the Marvel Universe and all these doorways and all these new dimensions and portals are open, the multiverse is doing what it's doing, these team-ups, they're bound to happen, right? So, and here's the reason why I'm going after this book. This is an early appearance of the Black Suit, right? And this suit, this particular comic book came out 2 weeks after Amazing Spider-Man 252. So listen, we're going to see these books. We're going to see these characters and we just have to be prepared when they have it. I would rather have it in my collection than when it happens rather than have it floating around out there when it does because it's going to be more expensive and harder to get your hands on. So here are the numbers on this book. The LRS for this book was back on January 11th of 2023, where a raw copy of this book sold for $40. And here's more transparency. This is another book that I just recently ordered. So this will be coming down the pipeline real soon. So I made sure I ordered this book before I put it on the list, because these books do continue, they go up in value. Amazing Spider-Man is just such a hot book. Everybody's after it. Amazing Spider-Man is just a hot book. Anything Spider-Man is just a hot Spider-Man character. Everybody loves him, and he's just a high value superhero. And that book sold for $40. This book has a current trend of 8.36% increase in copies that have sold. The average sale for a raw copy of this book is $75, and the average sale for a CGC 9.6 in this book is $279. There's been 584 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 301 copies of graded copies that 301 of graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 885 copies of this particular book that has moved on the secondary market. Now, there was a high sell back in March of 2021 where CGC 9.8 sold for $2,000, right? And that was back in 2001. But at the moment, fair market value has this book resting at $75 for a raw copy that is in very fine condition. And that is what I'll be going after. That is what I went after. I went after a raw copy in very fine condition. And I got it for a decent price. I actually was able to get it for a little less than $40. I can't wait till it gets here so I can inspect it. It looks like a book that if I gave it some love, like if I added a cleaning and a pressing to it, I could possibly raise that grade up a little bit. So I can't wait till it gets here so I can determine what I need to do with it. But if you are in the market, ladies and gentlemen, for Marvel Team Up, issue number 141, keep your eye out on this book. The newsstand edition is definitely on the move. Number two, this book is published by Image. It's a modern book. It was released back in October of 2008. All right? This is the headless cover by the Todd father himself, Todd McFarlane. And we're talking about Spawn, issue number 185. Beautiful cover, just beautiful, exquisite, right? And I'm going after this book for one reason and one reason only. I'm a Todd McFarlane fan. That's it. I don't have to say anything else. That's it. I'm a Todd McFarlane fan. I want this book. So I'm going after it. And this is what I'm up against. These are the numbers. Last recorded sale for this book was back on December 29th of 2022, where a raw copy of this book sold for $300. And I know you guys are hearing these numbers and you're like, yo, C3, your wife's going to kill you. And I'm like, yes, she is. But don't tell her. Shh, don't say anything, right? Because I got to have these books. So this book is currently at a 3.7% increase, 3.78% increase in copies that have sold. So this book is definitely, it's doing some movement on the market. Again, slow, gradual, but it's steady and it's moving and it's creeping. So I want to get my hands on this book before it increases in value and then I have to struggle even harder to get it. All right. So the average price for a raw copy of this book is $706 right now. The average sale for a graded copy in a CGC 9.8 is $3,600. There's been 27 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 18 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 45 copies of this book that is sold on the secondary market. Now, back in October of 2021, there was a high sale of a CGC 9.8, like I said, that sold for $3,600. But keep this in mind because I'll be going after the fair market value book that is recorded at $706 for a raw copy in near mint condition. I will continue to look at this book and keep my eye on it and strike when the opportunity presents, right? I like to strike while the iron is cold. You guys know this already. So I watch it, and if it stops and it levels off a little bit, if I see it take a dip, I'm going in. All right? So if you are in the market for Spawn, issue number 185, the headless cover by Todd McFarlane, keep your eye out on this book because it's definitely on the move, ladies and gentlemen. It's definitely moving, all right? Now, we've made it to our number one hottest comic book of the week, right? Now, it's a modern comic, and it was published by Valiant. And the title of this book is Divinity Issue number 1. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this book was released on February of 2015. Now, this is the e-cover by, and his name is Louis LaRosa. Louis LaRosa. This is the e-cover. This is such a beautiful cover. Stunning. Stunning cover, right? And that's the reason I'm picking up this book. This is an artwork. This is a cover purchase for me. And the last recorded sale for this book was back on January 12th of 2023, where CGC 9.8 sold for $339. When I look at this cover and I see that artwork just popping off the page, it is very eye-catching, and it is something that I would like to add to my collection. And if I can get my hands on this book, even if I possibly may need to just pull this up and just give the story a read too, to see what it's about, to see if I'm definitely willing to invest that type of money in this book. But this is a book that caught my attention. It's doing numbers, and I want to add it to my collection. It currently has a 47% increase in copies that have sold. So it's doing very well on the secondary market. And it's definitely a book that you might want to add. And for those of you guys who like flipping books, you can take a look at this book. It may be something that you might want to get your hands on. If you can buy it at a lower price, increase it, make a couple dollars off of it for a quick flip, that might be something you're interested in. All right, I myself, I don't sell books, but I know many of you out there do. So who am I to judge? Like, we're just doing this. We're in it for the love of the comics, man. And that's what we do. To each his own, right? So the average sale for a raw copy right now is $322. The average sale for a CGC 9.8 is $339. There's been 4 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 4 graded copies that have sold. Yes. Giving us a total of 8 copies. Wait a minute, let me see. 4 plus 4. Yes, that's definitely 8. 8 copies that have sold so far on the secondary market. Now, back in November of 2019, there was a high sale for CGC 9.8 that sold for $340. Fair market value does have this book resting at $322 for a raw copy in near mint condition. So if you are in the market for Divinity Issue number 1 by Valiant, keep your eye out on this book because it is definitely on the move. It's a beautiful cover. Louis LaRosa does beautiful artwork. So if you're interested, keep your eye out on this book. And not to mention, it's all for the love, baby. Collecting. It's the hobby. That's what we do. All right? So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is your top 10 list. I have given you some comics that you may want to add to your collection. Whatever you do, execute. Be safe. Be wise. Don't make any hasty decisions. Don't do any impulse buying. If it's something you want, pace yourself, go after it. But I always tell people, never jump out of the airplane without a parachute. It doesn't end well, right? You don't have to lose yourself or lose anything trying to get a hold to a comic just to add it to your collection. That will always come. Have fun. Enjoy what you do. The comic should be no stress. It should be no strain. All right? So just enjoy what you do. All right? So now, before we go, just like I promised, I want to show you guys what I grabbed for New Comic Book Day. So let's spend the duration, the last few moments that we have together, looking at some of these beautiful books. All right? So keep in mind, I was not able to bag and board them all, so please, don't judge me. All right, people, let's do it. It's good vibes only. Let me show you what I got. All right, so I'm gonna pop this one open. And I'm gonna grab this, and I'm just gonna set them down in front of me. After I show them to you, I'm just gonna set them down in front of me, right? So, I grabbed Miles Morales, Spider-Man, issue number 2, and this is the design variant of Rabble, right? I grabbed Gold Goblin, issue number 1, second print. Wolverine, issue number 29. This is the demonized variant. That is such a fire cover right there, man. Literally. No pun intended. I grabbed Star Wars Darth Vader issue number 30, Vader's Arrival. Gotta love that. Vader looking so majestic, standing there with the stormtroopers. I grabbed Ghost Rider issue number 10. One of my favorite reads. I definitely recommend you guys check out Gunslinger Spawn issue number 16. Look at that beautiful David Mack cover. And there's a new first appearance in here, man. Todd McFarlane is really killing it with these characters that he's flushing out, man. So, and it's not a bad guy neither. So this will be a good guy that can help Spawn out a little bit. So check this book out. And the storyline is great, man. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the story. So definitely check it out. I grabbed the facsimile of the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 150. Spider-Man 17. Legacy number 911. I thought that was 50. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Spider-Man No More. Number 50, right? Who knows? They keep coming up with all these numbers. They change the numbers on these things all the time. Here's another Miles Morales, Rabble. And I grabbed the Avengers, the Disney, issue number 100 variant. What If? Right? I grabbed those. I thought those were pretty cool. I grabbed a second copy. I grabbed 2 copies of those. Ah. There you go. Grabbed a couple copies of those. Right? So that's one bag. Let's see what we got in this one right here. And again, I'm just going to shoot right through these guys because I know you got better things to do than hang around with me. So here is Star Wars High Republic, issue number 4. No bag. Miles Morales Spider-Man, issue number 2. The Todd McFarlane homage variant, the homage variant. Dark Web, Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 17. Star Wars High Republic Adventures. And this is issue number 2. I grabbed the Incredible Hulk, issue number 1 facsimile. Batman The Adventures, season 3, issue number 1. I grabbed Ghost Rider, issue number 10. Mandalorian, issue number 7. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, these are all books that I'm adding to my collection. You may want to add them to your collection too. Hearing a lot of good things about this one. DC Universe, Lazarus, Planet Alpha. I definitely have to make time to read that one right there. Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 16. Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 17. And this is the first cover appearance. Another Spider-Man homage cover. Rec Rap, first cover appearance. I guess his first appearance is in that 17 also. I got Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo. This is book number 3. I guess this is the one in the 25. Got that one as well. Interesting artwork on that cover. Again, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, issue number 2. I grabbed that. All right? And you can't live without it. I know I can't. I grabbed my free Marvel free previews. Definitely had to have that. And this is something you guys are going to want to keep your eye on. Keep your eye out on Shadow Clones with Spider-Gwen, because that's coming. All right? Now, here's some more real quick, all right? We're at 40 minutes. I'll take like another 5 minutes, but I want to be out of here before 45 minutes. All right? I'll let you guys go. So we grabbed Spider-Man issue number 4. This is the one in 25. Loving that Miles Morales cover. Dope, like that. I grabbed Unnatural Blue Blood. This is strictly a cover buy for me because you got Spawn and the main character of this book on the cover. I grabbed it because of that Spawn. You know I'm a McFarlane fan, so I just thought that was dope. Had to have it. I grabbed this Peter McMillan and Juan Jose Rip. This is the Burning Man issue number 1. Doing good. Hearing good things about this. This is definitely doing well. This is Star Wars The High Republic issue number 2. This is actually that second print that I was telling you about. It was on the list, guys. All right, so this is the first cover appearance of the Twinkle Sisters. All right, so keep your eye out on this book. I looked on the secondary market. It is going up in value too, so definitely if you want to get your hands on it, definitely grab a few copies for yourself. Batman issue 131. Loving this run. All right, definitely loving this run. Rick and Morty issue number 1. For all my Rick and Morty fans out there, had to have this one. Heads on the mantle over the fireplace. You know what it is. All right, I grabbed these. This is strictly cover by because there's not a lot of Silk covers out there, right? So I grabbed Silk issue number 1, second print. Just this beautiful red cover with her just sitting there looking so ill, man. Like she ready to put that work all the way in. She's up, definitely up, right? So I grabbed a couple copies of that to add to my collection. That's Silk, the second print, issue number 1. All right, you guys know I've been working on my Doom collection also. I grabbed Dr. Doom and Magneto supervillain team up. Remember I told you these team ups are going to be important. What happens if Doom comes through and teams up with Magneto? You know that's problems. That's definitely problems. So I had to have that. All right? Something That's Killing the Children, issue number 27. This has been a great story from beginning to end. James Tynion IV has been doing excellent with the writing. This is issue number 28. Definitely enjoyed James Tynion's writing. He's great. This is one that was in my back issue for a long time. That was in my box for a while, and I finally cleared it out. The Marvel Family Comics issue number 1, right? And that's the facsimile to the first Marvel family. All right? Definitely love the shiny ones. The shiny covers always get our attention. Number 27, Something That's Killing the Children. I grabbed Photon. This is issue number 2. Monica Rambeau, Photon, issue number 2. All right, now, Nice House on the Lake, another James Tynion story arc that I've been reading. James Tynion, Nice House on the Lake, right? And that is issue number 11. And I think number 12 was just after it. Yup, issue number 12, final book, Nice House on the Lake. James Tynion completed the run. This could definitely be a good movie, man. That could definitely make a good movie. A good movie to stream. Another Star Wars High Republic, issue number 4. As you can see, like I said, I haven't bagged and boarded these. I haven't even gone through and really sort them out. They've just been in the bag because I've been so busy. Black Panther, issue number 13. The homage cover. That's dope. That's definitely dope. Can't wait to throw those in some Mylars, see how they look. Another Black Panther, issue number 13. Another Miles Morales homage cover. Miles Morales Spider-Man, issue number 2. Star Wars High Republic, issue number 2. The Avengers, Star Wars High Republic Avengers, issue number 2. We have Batman One Bad Day, the Penguin. Remember, I've told you guys, I love the Joker. Always been a big Penguin fan. I finally got my Penguin cover, man. This is so fire. I love this, man. Cobblepot, that's my guy. Oswald Cobblepot. Doesn't get the respect that he deserves, man. The next Batman movie they do, he should be the baddie. We've got a lot of Joker movies out there. Let's flush out the Penguin now. Nice Hollows on the Lake, issue number 11, cover B. I've got another Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 16, another David Mack. Just love that artwork, man. Look at that. David Mack be killing the game, man. That's fire. We got Batman and the Joker, The Deadly Duel, book 3. This is another fire cover. Love that. Batman issue number 131. As you can see, yes, I've got multiple copies of certain books. Ones I can read, the others I'll add to my collection with no damage done to them, right? And this one is Nice House on the Lake, issue number 12. This was my reader's copy right here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just a little bit over my time, 46 minutes, 20 seconds. It's all good, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Tune in next time where I'll show you guys another hot 10 list of comics that I'll probably be trying to add to my collection. Now, I don't grab all the comics, but there are some that I definitely add to my collection. And I like sharing that with you guys. So if you enjoy the content, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you come on back and hang out with us. Because you know, where else can you go and experience good vibes only? I appreciate you. But before I go, like I always say, don't hate, congratulate. Show some love, because that don't cost you nothing. Appreciate. But no matter what you do, ladies and gentlemen, always keep it comics. I'll see you guys next video. You know what it is.